Hello and welcome to our latest edition of our Sports Insight and an Expert Opinion with our CEO, Jason Harborough. Today we're going to look at the insights and the trends that we expect to see in 2023 through the technology of sport and how the fan engagement has increased. We're going to start with talking about the all or nothing F1 Drive to Survive style behind the scenes documentaries that Netflix and Amazon have been producing and are continuing to produce. Jason, as a big consumer of sport content, do you enjoy these behind the scenes all access documentaries? And how do you see it benefiting the sport they talk about?
Yeah, look, as a sports fan, I find them incredibly interesting, but it's a medium that I think the more you do, the less impactful they become, because it's a little bit like Big Brother, isn't it? When that came out season 1, it was phenomenal because nobody knew what was coming. By season 20, people can set themselves up in different ways and can be perceived in a way that they can control. I'm not saying that's the method of the sports athletes that are in these type of programs, but I think there's a lot of interest. For me, the earlier ones were more interesting. I watched one, I think it was ESPN or one of the American channels, with Tom Brady, and it was fascinating to see how Tom's career started really quite badly. He wasn't one of the main picks in the draft. He didn't do particularly well in the early part of his career. Then he went on to be one of the greatest players of all time, and that journey was really interesting and was over a number of interviews over a number of years. I think when they go behind the scenes, you are relying on a good season. You're relying on good performances. You know, if Man City don't win the league or don't get beaten in the Champions League final and they come mid-table, it could be pretty boring. So the content is quite critical in relation to the performance of the season. People say they're good for sport. I think they are. I think they're better for the probably more minority sports. So we all know the big footballers, but when it comes to rugby union or rugby league or even cricket, we don't know all the personalities in those sports, and it can make individuals. It can give you insights that you didn't get before. I think we all learn by the way that sports coaches behave, and for me, when I'm watching these programs, because I like leadership, I like to learn about different people's techniques, I love to watch the coach when they're having a difficult time. It's easy when things are going well, we know. It's more difficult when things aren't. So I think these particular documentaries are interesting for me around the leadership points.
And it's a really exciting area, and one we'll keep a close eye on as they evolve and different sports are entered into each season. Moving slightly different area of the technology, we've seen a constant evolving of the connected stadiums and the technology used to create fan experience. What are your thoughts on this? Where do you see the space going, especially in the year of 2023 when we've got some great mega events such as the Women's World Cup and the Men's Rugby World Cup?
Look, I think there's been massive advancement in the whole relation between the fan, the engagement and the experience. And I think the sport has to keep up and be a real experience. We were talking about it, guys, offline before, where we feel some countries of the world have really done this well. We always use the US as the example. I'd also use some Southeast Asian countries like Japan, South Korea, etc. do it really well. In the UK, we perhaps don't do it as well as we like to think. You can go to many stadiums in the Premier League and you can't even get connection to your telephone. We've got to get those basic things right. When we get those basic things right, we can have real-time stats, we can have influence on what's going on around us, we can drive commerciability with ordering food, ordering merchandise, ordering more tickets while we're in the game themselves. But more interestingly to me is how do you engage with the fan? How do you make it a more personal experience? And technology allows that, but it only allows it if the platform's in place. And I think as we retrofit stadiums, we've got a lot of catching up to do in that area. But there are exciting things ahead. And for me, it's that relationship between the stadium and the street that becomes even more exciting. And what I mean by that is there's only so many of us can buy a ticket to a game. There's only 50,000 of us can go to a Premier League game, and there may be 250,000 want us to go from around the surrounding area, and many millions might want to know what the result is. If we're able to create a technology link between stadium live experience and outside live experience, the build up to the game, post game, during the game, and the development of things like the metaverse, etc., I think have an impact on that as well. Then we're really using technology in intelligent ways to engage people in sport and drive the commercial value from sport.
Brilliant. It's like you read my mind, because my next real quick question was going to be on the metaverse. We've seen many evolvements outside but also inside of sport with 3v3 basketball played in the metaverse universe. We've had NFL and Roblox are doing a Super Bowl virtual concept in the lead up to the event. So there's all these different things. I think it's a really exciting technology that can allow many more sports fans, sports consumers engage with the content without being there at the stadium.
Yeah, and I've got to admit, it's the early days of the metaverse. I don't think any of us fully understand or appreciate the impact it's going to have. What I do know is every meeting I'm in at the moment in sport and entertainment, people are talking about it and people are getting used to what this might look like. For me, the more people we can engage in sport, the more people that we can inform about the benefits of sport and they can enjoy big sports events, we know they drive participation. We know they drive engagement in other ways. And at the end of the day, all of this is about getting people out, getting them fitter and getting them more active. And I think the metaverse is a new platform and a new arena which is yet to be defined and fully understood, but gives people the chance to participate in a way that will encourage them to actually physically participate as well.